Hey, welcome back. My name is Deborah Peters. Thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting on the Deborah Peters Show. Really appreciate everyone for tuning in and being here. This is a show that is all about changing your reality through your consciousness. Most of us go through life reacting to what's happening around us and to us. And we don't realize that we're actually creating it from within. So within that creation, there is a power, and that power is yours once you become aware of it. You can't change something you're not aware of. You can't adjust something you're not aware of. So I decided to start a show that would be all about consciousness. Imagine a life where you're fully aware of your health, you're fully aware of your wealth, your relationship dynamics, your business growth, that you actually hear your business talking to you and telling you which direction it would like to go, where you are in a place of self-expression from an authentic and very organic, like I get me unapologetically kind of place. That's what this show is all about. And today I have the most magnificent guest, and her name is Shelley Meche'tte, right?
Yes,
right? I love
you
it.
got it.
I've been practicing. I've been
You are
practicing.
so good.
So Shelley is a coach that helps women predominantly, although I'm sure if men came along, you'd help them too, be able to develop their confidence and to really have a solid vision of themselves. Is that accurate?
Yes, you're absolutely right on it. And as you said, I do predominantly help women, but there have been some men who have really been able to gravitate to what it is that I do. As you said, we really need to understand who we are. And my position is I help women understand their purpose and passion so that they'll be able to walk into that in confidence. We're
Yeah.
going to, walk into your greatness. In fact, run into your greatness.
Right? Instead of running from it. It's like, oh,
Right.
I'm scared of how cool I
Right.
am. Yeah, I
Mhm.
know. But you see, I think, we're probably conditioned by society to run away from our greatness. I know I've had that experience in my life, and
Mhm.
I think that's what really inspired me to start this show was I, even after coaching for 25 years, I mean, I'm still discovering emotions and old belief systems that I've had tucked
Mhm.
away that
Mhm.
I thought I'd, got in there with the roto-rooter. It's just kind of like cleaned it all out. But apparently I left a few things behind.
But you know what? But that's okay because I love to look at our life as a journey, and that's exactly what it is. We're constantly renewing, we're constantly finding out new things about ourselves, we're constantly looking at, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I had this particular belief system. I was married with children, Deborah, before I found out, wow, there is some residue that I am dealing with from an emotionally abusive relationship. There were people who were like, oh, Shelley girl, you my relationship goal, and I was sitting in the mirror bawling, okay? Because I'm like, who is this girl who is looking back at me in the mirror? And that's because I hadn't recognized, wow, there's still some beliefs that an abusive relationship, it's still some residue. So now it's time to work through something new. That's okay. We're never at, I don't believe we're ever at the 100% peak. Wherever I am in my life, I'm working to be the best in that particular season of my life. And then guess what? New seasons happen. And
Yeah.
sometimes in that new season, I recognize, oh, whoa, I need to go back a couple of steps and do new work for this new season.
That's well said, because oftentimes I hear from people, but I've worked through that. And I say
Mm-hmm.
to them, of course you did at that level. And now,
Exactly.
right? And now, not only are you working through that issue at a new level, but you're at a new level.
You're at a new level. And that's the thing that we never really, for some reason, we don't seem to take that with us. We're constantly looking back, going, life was so great 3 years ago. If I could just get back to the
Oh,
woman that I was 3 years ago, I'd be great. Guess what? You are not the woman that you were 3 years ago. You are not the man that you were 3 years ago. Even if the difference is just, hey, I have a new job. I have new thoughts. I joined a new church. Whatever it is, you are different. And those
that's right.
subtleties have created new thoughts, new patterns, new beliefs,
Well,
new
and
new
yeah,
confidence.
and new consciousness,
You see, it's
new,
created all of these new things.
all of that.
So we have to step into the new person and say, now that I'm in this new place, now let me redo it again. What are these things that I'm thinking of? What are these things that I believe? Our system changes, and we need to be okay with that. There's some things that I was dead on, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that now in my 40s, I see it differently.
Of course you do, all day
you know
long. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot that has changed, not just in years. I mean, I try not to measure our lives by our age. I think that's a very common like it's a societal norm. I think what happens with us is we literally expand our awareness beyond our current, like if this is what we know ourselves to be, whatever's in here, and then we step outside of that and we take it out to this next level of seeing life differently, maybe seeing ourselves differently, handling our emotions differently,
Mhm,
then you can't go back to that old shrunk down limited
mhm,
view of self. You have to stay out here and then view life through that lens for a while.
mhm,
And there's
mhm.
many lenses.
There are many lenses.
Yeah.
There are, and I don't believe that one lens, fits everyone. As you said, there's many lenses, and we all see things through that particular lens. And depending on what stage you are, in life, what your life season is, how your thoughts have changed, how your life has changed, you're going to view things with all of those different scenarios that
Plus
are in your life.
that exactly, and consciousness of humanity has shifted, because when I first started doing this work 20 some years ago, actually I had somebody tell me I should only say more than 10, because then nobody judges you by age. It's like, I don't care.
I'm
I
not
got
judging you.
I've done it, babe. I've done it. It's over 20. I got
And
the
I love
mug,
it.
the t-shirt, all yeah, I celebrate. Yeah.
That's
Um,
right.
and so I don't really say anything different now than I said then. It's interesting to me because people just weren't really ready to hear it then. I mean,
Hmm.
so what's fascinating to me now is I see there's a lot of coaches. You want to get that?
Because I am over here enjoying my life. Somebody in the house should get it right.
I know, right? Um, it's funny because I see all these, like it's a very trendy thing now, coaching,
Hmm.
mindset coaching, behavioral coaching. And what's
Hmm.
interesting is there's all this new sexy terminology around it, but it's the same thing that I
Hmm.
was saying
Hmm.
20 years ago,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes,
I
yes.
think
I
I
I
think we have
see.
more awareness now on like the mind body thing, like the brain, the gut brain relationship and all that. But I think other than that, it really just comes down to some real basics, don't you?
I absolutely believe that, and I believe that in so many things, if we go back to the basics, we find that things that we're looking for now, they were there all along. We may not have known it, we may not have understood it. There may be a different terminology, for it to help us better understand it, to help you better break it down. But I
Mhm.
do believe that a lot of things are based in the basic. If we go back, because I absolutely believe that a lot of things that we're hearing now, that we're doing now, that we're aware of now, we just maybe weren't ready for it at that time, or the understanding, just was
Yeah,
not there.
it's a lot to process sometimes.
Hmm.
Even 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 when you have like a toolbox, like an arsenal. It can still seem like, wow, this is big. And because it is in the moment, I don't want
Mhm.
to downplay the journey that everyone is on. We're all on our own journey, our own path. And
Absolutely.
I certainly don't want to downplay how it can feel traumatic and it can feel heavy and it can feel like, whoa, this is overwhelming. We all
Mhm.
have, like, I think I had one of those days just like a week ago where one day I was just like, wow, what's going on? I just feel like I got run over. And I was feeling negative and I was thinking negative
Mhm.
and I just, like, I know enough to step out and go meditate and take a break, but not everybody gives themselves that permission, especially if they work in a job where they think they can't leave their desk and go take a minute for themselves.
Right. I think that we're becoming, again, a little more aware, and even in situations, office situations and things like that, I think we're becoming a little more sensitive to the fact that we all need that mental break. And so I encourage people, even if you are at a job, step to your boss and say, I need 5 minutes. you know
Yes.
I need 3 minutes, because I can't give you, the truth of the matter is, I can't even give to my job properly when I'm overwhelmed, when there's too much stress. I can't even think properly. I can't even provide the proper services to make sure that the job is run in its best way. So therefore, it's in my best and the company's best that I just take 2 to 5 minutes to go outside and let the air hit me. Let
Yeah.
me breathe, and then let me
Yeah.
let me come back again.
Yeah. And I'll come back in a little more fresh.
Mhm.
And because, back in the day when I first started as a coach, it was still that old school mentality of, you put on your game face, you leave who you are as a person at the door, like all this nonsense. And it never worked. I think people probably stuffed their emotions a lot more, which was unhealthy for everybody in the long
Oh,
term and the short term. Um,
absolutely.
but there's also a flip side to this as well, and that is really cultivating some mastery over your thoughts and your emotions so that
Mhm.
they don't run away with you. And
Absolutely.
but there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line
Absolutely.
between I need to step out, take a little break. Maybe I need a mental health day, as we used to call it back in the corporate days, or maybe I just need to, like, shake it off. How do you
Mhm.
tell your clients to know the difference?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in shake it off, because
Okay.
if the emotion is there, if it's there, then we need to recognize it, and we need to be able to say it's not a good day, or it's a frustrating day, or I'm just angry. I'm angry. So we need to be able to recognize what those emotions are. So I don't really believe in the shake it off. I do believe in, let's be honest about what the feeling is, and before you
Mm.
even step into that feeling, let's grab some tools so that when you're in that feeling, you can just pick it out instead of trying to jump into it. So if you know that, when you become frustrated, that you shut down, or you become very angry, let's look into the toolbox first and say, when I'm frustrated, here's what I need to do. I need to step away. I need to not talk to people. I need just 2 minutes, so that when you're in that, you're not looking and scrambling for that, but it's already in your toolbox. So I already know frustration means I need to step away. I already know when I get sad, I need to call my
Mhm.
family and just tell them to talk me down for a minute. What are those things that we can pull out of the toolbox? We don't want to wait until we're in the situation. We want to know, when these feelings arise, when I'm feeling this way, this is what I can pull out of my toolbox so that it can bring me back to be centered again.
Yeah, yeah. And what if these people, or anyone watching, is going through this and they don't have family to call, or they don't have that person?
Sometimes, unfortunately, we don't have family. And so I would really encourage them, is there a friend? Are you a part of a church? Are you a part of a Facebook group? Believe it or not, you guys, Facebook has been therapy for me some days. Being in a Facebook group with other women, with other striving women, business women, they understand where I am mentally, emotionally, because we've all usually had at some point in time the same emotions. So being able to get into a Facebook group that feeds that, sometimes that helps as well. So for those who don't have families, we have to look at other things that we can put inside of our toolbox. Do you have a mentor? What are some other things? Are there some meetups that happen around your area? Can you go to a meetup and be refreshed for that day? What can we use so that you'll be able to put some things into that arsenal?
So basically, if they don't have someone specifically um, in their corner, it's okay to reach out to a larger community, because
Mm-hmm.
I find too, oftentimes that immediate circle doesn't have the bandwidth when things go bad to back
And
you
you know
up.
what? And that really depends. Here's another thing. I'm so glad you brought that up. Here's another thing that I speak with to my clients. I ask them to make a list of people who you believe that you can call on, and then call those people. Make a list of 3 to 5 people. Call those people and say, in the event that I'm having a really rough day, is it okay that I call you about it for 5 or 10 minutes? I believe in arsenals. You
Yeah.
know, I I believe in putting things in before it's time. I've had to do it. Everybody in your circle is not going to be that person. And it's
Right.
okay for people in your circle to give different things to you. There are women in my circle who are just for, girl, let's go out, let's chill, let's this. There are women in my circle who I'm like, I need you to be my accountability partner because I
Yeah.
know I'm not going to get this done unless you do it. There are women in my circle who literally, I had an overwhelming day about 3 weeks ago, and I literally I broke, and I put on Facebook. I told you guys sometimes it's my therapy, but I put on Facebook. I said, you guys, throw up a prayer for me because I can't take one more thing today. Literally, one of my girlfriends saw that post, and she's in my circle, and she saw that post and she immediately called me and she said, talk it through. She's one of the women in my circle who I can say, hey, I'm having a really bad day. Can I just talk to you? But I was out and I didn't have a chance to call her, but instead she called me and she said, hey, I saw your post. Talk it through. What do you need? And then let's
Right.
take it from there. So
Nice.
my circle has several women that I can go to for different things, and I'm not going to use up someone else's bandwidth by having them be 3 and 4 and 5 things for me.
Yes. Yes. Because we never know where they're at and what they're going through and what they're
Exactly.
experiencing. Right.
Exactly.
So
So I
yeah.
want to allow them to be able to have their own bandwidth. So I usually have a particular person in my circle who I can go to for a particular thing. But that's because I've already laid out my list to say, this particular person is good when this is happening to me. Let me just call them and see, is it okay if you be my person for this?
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, ask them. Ask them. We
Yeah.
don't want to assume that people want to
See
be
if
your
they
person.
can. Hmm.
We can't assume that.
How do you find then as a coach reaching out to others for support?
At first, it used to be difficult because I felt like, if you the coach, why are you reaching out
I
to
know,
people?
right?
So I felt intimidated. I felt intimidated by my own greatness and success, because to me it meant that I was in this particular box and you're supposed to know it. So why would you need anything? I went through a lot of imposter syndrome because I felt like, you're not who you say you are if you need that help. And one day I literally sat back and I had to ask myself, are you or are you not human? The same
Right.
things that happen with other people, are they not the same things that happen with you? You pour out in order to allow others to be poured into. Who pours into you? That had
Yeah,
to be the question.
that had to be the question. Sure. I mean, I think I think sometimes, being a coach is like, it's a burden of position for sure. People will have the tendency to think, well, you're the coach, you should have it all together.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that you're also a human being. Over time, I have found that I've become more and more reliant on my inner being. Like my relationship with God has become so
Mm-hmm.
strong, and so I literally will ask for guidance out loud. Like I'll be walking down the street talking out
Mm-hmm.
loud, and I shared this with a really good friend of mine today. I was looking for an answer for something that was kind of frustrating me, and I went out hiking that night. This is like a month ago. I was in Tennessee, and there's lots of hills in Tennessee. And I was hiking, and I looked down, and here's this little turtle on the hiking trail. And the hiking trail is not like California where things are bare and the place is wide open. It's like your trail is like this wide, and then there's trees and everything growing around you. And here's this little turtle, and I look down, and I'm like, hey, talking to my little turtle buddy, and I'm like, so what's your message for me? Because I knew, animals always bring me
You're
messages.
you're
Nature,
open. You're open
yeah,
to receiving.
yeah, totally. And he just looked at me, like he just stared me straight in the eye, and he was not budging until I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we had a moment, he and I, and I bent down, I took some pictures of him, and then I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to slow myself down,
Wow.
one step at a time. Everything's okay, and just keep moving one foot in front of the other toward my goal.
Wow. What a message.
Right. And as soon as I got that, he let go of the eye contact.
And he went on about his business. He said, there you go.
There you go. No
Receive
charge.
the message. Receive the message.
Oh my God.
I like that. I love that because I really believe that we can find messages, serenity. There's so many things, that are around us that if we take time to just be quiet, if we take time to just listen, there are so many things around us that will give us the answers that we're looking for. My daughter, I remember her saying that she was praying about something, and I can't remember the situation, but she told God, I'm open to any way you want to speak. And she literally went outside and looked up in the sky, and whatever way the clouds were shaped, I don't remember, it was exactly what she needed. And the shape of the cloud ended up being the answer to whatever it was.
I know,
So
it's so
it's
powerful.
amazing to me that
Yeah.
we can find exactly what we need sometimes when we just get into that quiet place and just say, where's this answer? And I'm willing to take that answer from whichever direction you give it to me.
Yeah. 100%. It's really powerful.
I love that turtle thing though.
It was
That is
good.
really amazing. Slow down. I love it.
I can give you another one. So
Look, I think I needed that one.
yeah, I mean, that was
What's
good for
that?
me. I'll give you another one that came. I've been on the road for 4 months working remotely. And when I was in LA, I would alternate my hikes between Griffith Mountain and the little park around Dodger Stadium. I'm trying to think of the name of it. And I thought I had some amazing trails. So this is like a year and a half ago. I'm out on the trail, and I had broken up with someone. Maybe it's 2 years ago, and I had broken up with someone, and I was healing my heart,
Mhm.
licking my wounds, and um, he came to my mind that day, and I said, okay, God, send me a sign about this guy. Like, sometimes things happen in relationships where they want you to think that you're imagining it when you're really not. That's a whole other talk show.
That's great. Say that's
Literally.
a
That's a
whole
whole
nother
other talk show.
story.
And so I said, okay, God, send me a sign that I was dead on. I made the right decision, and I'll stop thinking about it. I turned to my right, and there was a silver-haired fox. I've never seen a fox that beautiful. First of all, I've never seen a fox in LA, not a silver-haired fox.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of red, but not silver. Secondly, I've never seen a fox that beautiful in my life. And
Wow.
thirdly, I'd never seen a fox in that park, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd probably hike that park 3-4 times a week. So I would go out there and do 6
Wow.
miles like 3-4 times a week. And there it was. And I'm like, a fox. Well, what's a fox? Clever,
Mm-hmm.
devious, cunning, and I'm like, wow, it was that easy. Was that easy?
It's
Yeah.
the answer is there when we're willing to allow ourselves to take it from any way that it's given. I think so many times we say this is how the answer is supposed to come, and so we block ourselves off from from other ways that we could get our answers, and that we can get peace of mind and things like that, because we decide this is how it's supposed to be. This is
Yeah.
how this answer is supposed to come. So I love that, and I love the fact that you're so open. Like whichever way it comes,
I don't
however
care.
it gets
Just
to
give me the
me,
answer.
as
Yeah,
long as it comes.
that's right. That's right. What am I supposed to do next? And I ask
I
that
love
question
it.
every
I
day.
love it
It's,
because that is my
yeah,
that is my question too. What's next?
what's next? Now what?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And give me the guide. Give me the steps. Let me know, and I'll do it.
I'll do it. Yeah. Man, that's a good recipe for life right there. That makes everything easy.
I try to make my life easy. It don't always work out that way, but I try.
Yeah. Well, it's the intent that counts, right?
Yeah, I love
So,
it.
so what would you say? What would I think there's a lot of mental health issues in the world,
Hmm.
and I think that there's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff,
Absolutely.
particularly since we had a lockdown, and we're social animals. We're not designed to be in solitary
Hmm.
confinement for
Hmm.
weeks and months at a time. Um, as 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 people are working their way out of that, because that's a program that got installed. That's a fear program that had people hiding from even looking at one another, much less engaging, right? So what's a tool that people could use right now to really pump themselves up and get excited and inspired, enthusiastic about life again?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm always about understanding where you are at that moment in life. And so I think one of the best things that you can do is to number one say, you know, I'm not there anymore. Or, I do have this sense of I like to keep people at a distance now. I understand that that's where I am now. That is where the empowerment begins. Understanding where am I? So if you're at that point where you're like, I still don't like touching people, be honest, about that. And then I think the first thing that we can do is take one step, not 5 steps, not 10 steps, one step out of the comfort zone. That doesn't mean going to Disneyland. That may be too much, but maybe your one step is to call up a friend and say, I'd love to do 10 minutes of coffee with you, 20 minutes of coffee with you. Something that's going to easily get you back into
Right.
that flow again. I don't think that people need to be pushed the way that we always want to push people, but I do believe that you shouldn't remain stagnant and in a box, because then we become comfortable not stepping out of
Yeah,
comfort zones.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I never want to be that. I never want to be comfortable not taking risk. I never want to be comfortable not betting on me. That's not the comfort zone that I ever want to have. So when we look at things and say, I'm going to take this one step out of the comfort zone, and then with that one step, I've poured confidence into my confidence bucket with that one step. So now the next time I can go, you know what? I took that one step. That didn't kill me. I'm still here. It's okay. Now, what's step number two? And
That's right.
when we give ourselves permission to take steps, you don't have to jump in. You could put your toe in the pool. It's okay, but get refreshed
Yeah, exactly. And so it'd be like the turtle, right? Take a
like the
step,
turtle,
take another step, take another
and
step.
then take another step.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's really good.
And you can pace yourself. You know, I love that turtle story. You can pace yourself. It's
Yeah,
okay because everyone doesn't do things at the same pace. As
right.
long as we're moving forward, as long as we have decided that we're worth that, you know, you're worth that. You're worth the extra step, the extra move. Don't keep yourself stagnant.
That's right. That's right. Take a baby step.
Take a baby step. Even if that baby step is, I need to crawl today, crawl,
Just
crawl.
remember, what you are seeking is seeking you.
Oh, I love that.
Just take a step toward it. Could be a
I
phone
love
call,
that.
could be an email, it
Yes.
could be looking in the mirror and saying, I love you.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's one of the things that's really difficult for people, Deborah, to look in the mirror and say, I love you. It's something that I struggled with. And so when I connect with a lot of my clients and I have them do that exercise, so funny you would say that, but I literally have them do that exercise because it's so easy for us to do for other people, to give to other people, to pour our love, our time, our energy into other people. And then when it comes to pouring it into ourselves, I don't have time. I don't feel, we don't say it to us, but we show that we don't feel worthy. And so I have them go to the mirror and say, hey, I love you, Cheryl. I love you, Amanda. And it's one of the most difficult things that they do. When we get back in our next session and I ask them, did you do that? Did you look at yourself in
right.
the eye? Not over here like this, okay, I love you. No. Did you look at you? Did you look at your beauty? Did you look at the design of who you are? And did you really take time to say, I love you. I love the quirks. I love the things that make you different. I love that little, that little chip that's right over the eye that I used to not love. I love my little crooked smile. These are things that empower us and
Yes.
that will help us to take that little step.
Yeah. Self love is the key to everything.
It's the
100%.
key. It's the key. And we hide behind so many things. We hide behind careers. We hide behind hobbies. We hide behind things also that we don't have to look at ourselves and say, it was the hardest thing for me to literally look at myself one day and say, I really don't like myself. And not
Yeah.
because, and
I've
not
had that
because
moment.
right? It's
Yeah.
that's not comfortable.
Oh, no.
That's
But it's
not
got to
easy.
happen if you got to get real because you
You
can't change
have to
something
get
you're not
real.
willing to look at.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. If you're ever going to live in authenticity, if you're ever going to live in true happiness, if you're ever going to live out the person that you've been created to be, you have to be honest. And you literally have to look in the mirror and say, I haven't been honest with me. I don't believe in myself the way other people think that I do.
Well, and that's always the rub, right? People can look and go, "Wow, they've got it all together," but they don't know what's
Hmm.
going on inside. And I feel like that's why in creating this show about consciousness, I had a category for self-expression and for relationships because those two go hand in hand. When
Hmm.
if you can't be authentic with yourself, and the only relationship you really have is the one between you and you, um, then you can't be authentic with others, and people can't
Exactly.
really see who you are.
Exactly. Exactly. You're going to wake up with you. You're going to bed with you. You having dinner with you. You know, we're taking a bath together. We're doing all this stuff.
That's
You
right.
never get away from you. And so the best thing that we can do for ourselves is learn about that person. Find the things about that person that delight us. Find those things that make us different and special. It's those things that are so wonderful about you. You would be
Yes,
amazed at the things that you take for granted that other people wish that they could do.
100%. I think that's what puts me in check all the time.
Hmm.
Now, I know you've got a gift for everyone. What's your website? Give me that first.
Absolutely. My website is www.shelleymechette.com, and I'll spell that. It's SHELLEYMECHETTE. It's a lot of E's in there.
A lot of ease.
A lot of
Yeah.
E's.
Cool. And so what's the tool that you were going to give people? I know you have something special.
Yes, I would love to leave a free gift with your audience. Again, I primarily work with women, but men have really found this helpful as well. And it is my guide, Powerful Purpose. 5 ways to rediscover yourself after motherhood. And yes, you
Ooh,
know, again, it is geared towards our wonderful women, but there are amazing, wonderful men who have just grabbed a couple of tools out of there. They're like, now don't tell nobody, but it was a couple of things in your freebie that I really enjoyed.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're human beings before we're.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And
That's cool.
at the end of the day, we're all looking for the same thing, Deborah,
Yeah,
to be loved,
to
to
be
be
loved.
seen,
Yeah,
to have someone that we can depend on. These are the basics that we talked about earlier. Going back to those basics. When I know that I'm loved and when I'm able to love myself, when I know that I have people to depend on, when I know that I'm seen, that I'm not just ignored, that you hear me, these are things that help me to walk into the best woman that I am.
yeah. And you've done that. Congratulations.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. And we know it continues to unfold, but it's okay to say that. It's okay to say, I've done it. I've done it.
Yes, and it does continue to unfold. And the exciting part is, in 6 months, in a year, I don't know, in 3 weeks, I may look back and go, wow,
Yeah.
those were wonderful points. And now I have grown even more into this particular woman. I'm excited about always evolving because I never want to say I got everything.
No,
If I got
go
everything,
girl.
right. If I got everything for that particular season, great, great. Now
What's
what's the next
next?
thing?
I know.
Exactly.
Yes. We're so on the same page. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on
Oh,
today.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we get that gift out in the show notes for everyone. And this podcast will be up on all the major platforms. We just streamed live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And then, of course, we're on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, you name
Say
it.
you can find it.
I'm everywhere. Yeah, I can't miss this show. So thank you for being here today, Shelley. I really appreciate you. You're
Thank you
awesome.
so much.
I know it
Thank
was kind
you.
of tricky for us to get our calendars together, but it worked out perfectly.
But we
And
did it, and it
we
and
did
it
it.
was perfect timing.
It was perfect timing. Yes, it was, more than you know. And thank you, everyone, for viewing and watching and sharing and subscribing. And thanks for Chris. He's always here every week. He's always got a comment. Really appreciate you, Chris. Big shout out to Chris. And just remember, everybody, stay aligned with your higher self, stay awake, stop medicating yourself with TV and food and gossip. Stay really, truly, stay awake to the signs. There'll be a turtle on your path too, or maybe a silver fox, who knows? And definitely stay alert because there's lots of really cool stuff. I feel like God's downloading to us every single day. So just keep yourself in present time. All right. Thank you, everybody. See you soon.